Good way to lead is be a good follower. Okay, we'll call the Airport Authority Board meeting to order, and we'll start by doing roll call.
Rashani. Here. Ekman.
Here.
Osgriff.
Here.
Capitan.
Here.
Bird.
Here. The next order would be a motion to approve the minutes. Annual meeting. January 20th. Anyone have any corrections or additions? Corrections or additions? Is there a second?
Second.
Suppose the well, never mind. Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Carries. Next item is order of the agenda. We've got a number of things on the consent agenda. I guess if anyone wants to pull any of those off, do that. Give everyone a minute to look through it.
I would like to pull off number 7 for just a very quick conversation on it.
Which letter?
Number 7.
Anything else? I guess I had a question. I think you answered that number 8. That was just, they've got a 25-year mortgage. They wanted to extend the lease. With that.
Correct.
Then the VE Airport property, what is that?
That's the corporate air hangar that Mike Mullinger owns. That's leased to Corporate Air, which is the FedEx feeder.
Okay.
So it's the first opportunity to increase the rent to match everyone else's.
Okay. All right. Okay, we'll take number 7 off. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Okay. Move to approve. Is there a second? Second. So it's just a motion to approve consent calendar. Any other?
The agenda.
Oh yeah, I'm backing up.
That's okay.
All in favor of the order of the agenda as modified? I'm opposed, nay. Motion carries. Take up the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Consent agenda. Second.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. So we'll go to the regular agenda, preliminary December 25 year-end financials.
Anna is here.
I am here. Just trying to get my stuff up here. There we go. All right, so going to give just a quick recap on the 2025 financials. As we came through the end of December.
Can you make it a little larger?
Oh, will the audio be able to pick up Tana sitting over there?
Okay. Tana, if you want to come like closer, maybe just.
There? Okay. I can just kind of just stand right here. I'll be good.
I didn't think there. We won't know until we just
Make it bigger.
All right, good morning. Like it's my first time or something. Just going over the 2025 financials, and because we are at the end of the year, these are just draft financials. We have an audit that's going to start next week. And so I expect the auditor's report or a review of the audit to happen possibly at the March meeting, if not the April, and then the December ones will be final. So just some really quick highlights on the general operating fund. It will come as no surprise that we are above budget and our net income in the same categories we have always been. In the parking, the car rentals were high in. The expenses were low in the salaries, and so right now that has left us with a net operating budget of about $1 million over what we budgeted. which I feel is very good. When we go into budget planning, we always plan for the worst and hope for the best. So for us to end up with that, I feel we'll be sitting very good. And then if we factor in some of the interest, we'll be a little over 2 million. But please know that the interest income will be going down in 26 and 27. I put some employment statistics out there. These are basically, this is exactly what you've seen in your packet last month. Because the timing of the board meeting, we had December's employments. And so this is not updated at all, but it shows that we had about an 8% increase over the prior year. November and December employments were slightly down. We do know that that was due to the government shutdown, and then you add in a couple of storms, but overall we were still up. As far as the KPIs and stuff go, passenger employments, the airport revenue, the total growth, that still all tracks. Right now, our cost per enplaned passenger is roughly about $4.40. So that is still good. That hasn't changed. And I kind of track that over a monthly basis. I don't foresee us, I don't know. The other airports are usually way higher. So our cost per enplaned passenger is very good. And so the airlines do focus on that because they do like to see that. I added in at the last board meeting, a board member had asked about, we know our parking income is down a little bit, but how does that compare to like the TNC, the Lyft, the Ubers, that income that we're getting? So I just threw that number out there. The TNC income for the last couple of months is right around 61,000. So what we're expecting is anywhere between 11,500 and 14,000 a month. But it's so new in the game, we'll just keep tracking it monthly. And if it's something you want an update on, let me know. But I know that it was brought up last month, so I thought I would throw that out there. The parking stuff, I'm gonna skip over for a second here and just go right to the parking expansion and to our projects. The projects are still on track, tracking with Joe's budget that he provides every month. The parking had some change orders and stuff with the windscreens and things like that. So those are all built into the cost. I don't see any issues at this time. The same goes with the terminal projects. Everything is tracking right on budget. We're continuing to assess grants going forward. We're continuing to assess the new projects and the grants that will be tied to the projects. So I'm working with Mead and Hunt, and hopefully February, if not March, I'll have a chance to talk through everything with Sean and Mead and Hunt and kind of get a good solid forecast laid out there for our upcoming projects, because as the terminal ones wind down, there's a couple more that are going to start, like the South GA, and some other ones are going to be wrapping up. So just a future look, it's still looking like we will need some help probably in 2027, that we will have to reach out for additional funding to fund some of these major projects. And that's what we've been tracking for the last couple of years, and that really hasn't changed. We're looking probably in that April, May, June time period. And so when we're about 6 months out, then we'll really dial in on what kind of funding is needed and when it is needed a little more closely. Other than that,
Tana,
oh, yes.
on the state funding where they cut us back from the 60 requested to the 45,
Mm-hmm.
we anticipating that 15 coming back in then in that 27 or?
I haven't been told so. Sean, have you heard differently?
Yeah, we'll have to talk with the Airport Association and the Aeronautics Commission to see if that's what
I thought
Wanna
at
pursue
the time they were talking about the cutback was
they left the door open for us to
to
come back and
refill
ask.
it in the next biennium. So
So with the Prairie Dog Fund and so forth, we'll chat with the state and see what they feel. Bismarck will be the top priority in the next legislative session.
Well, and we were the top priority last time. We got cut 15 million. So.
So all that to be determined.
And what is up here right now is extremely small for you to see. But it was in your packet last month. And I did put it in the packets for this month because I think it was you, Commissioner Berg, who had said, you know, can we start tracking some parking KPIs and stuff? And so I have done that. And in your packet, there's a ton of different KPIs. So if there's certain ones that you want reported on every month, I will gladly report on that. Or if it's quarterly or whatever. But what I can tell you is that in tracking the occupancy of the parking ramp in November, we were about 42% filled. December, we were 60.5. And in January, we were almost at 71%. So January proved to be a really good month for the parking ramp. And I will continue to track it by month going forward and share with you as you would like. Does anybody have any questions regarding the financials?
Looks good.
All right, that is all I have.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to receive.
Yeah. Is there a motion to receive?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Oh, want to do a roll call?
Has to do with finances, it has to be.
Okay.
Yeah, finances got to be a roll call. So Rashani,
Yes.
Ekman,
Yes.
Bosworth.
Aye.
Capitan. Aye. Bird.
Aye.
Adriani.
Skyway and parking ramp roof update.
Morning.
Morning.
On the Skyway, they've gotten most of the underside insulated and the subframing's on and they're putting plywood on. And actually on the south end, they've got some of the metal panel skins on the underside currently. A bunch of the stainless steel railing has showed up, so they're gonna start installing that here in the next few days. That's being stored on the interior side right now, but eventually it'll get to both ends. About 2/3 of the roof is complete where they can. They're working on the framing of the tie-in of the existing canopy to the Skyway now, so there's a lot of framing that needs to be done there. So once they get that done, then they'll, assuming we'll go to the roofing next on that, once that's done.
What's the status on who's paying for the repair of the roof?
I have not heard anything on the roof
Okay.
of the parking ramp.
The state is unresponsive right now. They're waiting for the engineering report yet. This is going on and on. So as of Friday, they don't have the final report. It's being done by EngTech out of Bismarck. The inspector's here to look at it. As of Friday, that was not ready.
Okay. Any questions for Joe? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Sean, on the roof, have we paid for the repairs at this point?
No, there hasn't been any invoice for that, so hers will take care of that. Yep. The temporary repairs, you'll still see some membrane flapping up there once in a while in the wind, but it's secure.
Okay, number 11, passenger terminal expansion and modification project.
Okay, Mary Schaefer is on board here. She took over.
Yep. Good morning, everyone, and congratulations. I assume everything's going well so far with the new terminal. Angie is going to give our report this morning, and then we will pass along to Gina to report on arts and amenities.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Today is a big day, like Mary said. Super excited that flights are going to be coming in and out today. And as a reminder, sorry, I should have started with this. I'm Angie Corwin. I haven't probably been out here for a little while. I'm with Mead and Hunt. I'm on the architecture team. So let's see. although the addition and all the flights are coming in and out, and that's a major milestone in the project, there's still a lot of work that is being done. Right now, McGough is kind of everywhere all at once. They are working on the first floor restrooms, which I would expect would be done this next month. And they are also working on, they've removed all the walls to the existing ATO spaces, and then to get ready for the new ATO spaces. Ticketing is under construction. Ticketing won't open, well, it'll be done earlier, but it won't be ready for airlines to move in until probably June once baggage screening is complete. Everything's going well, but they're doing lots of work everywhere, so.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Gina's online for amenities updates.
Gina?
Good morning. It's nice to see you in the new space. As far as arts and amenities, we have passed the new policy, and we will be forming a new committee according to the new policy. Other than that, we're moving forward with the art drain covers. That's going to be our next project that we will be working on, and Ivy will be taking the lead from here on out with the new Arts and Amenities Committee. Any questions?
Any questions for Gina? Okay.
Well, Gina, so you just said the arts amenities policy had been passed, and we have not approved that yet. It was
Oh, okay. It's on the consent agenda, right?
Consent agenda to the regular agenda.
And so we'll take that up next, Gina. Are there any questions for Gina here? Okay, thank you, Gina.
Sure.
So why don't we go back to number 7, approve proposed art program policy.
This is just a technicality. I don't have any problem with the proposal. But I think a better practice would be that board members are the only ones that put things on the agenda, not a person who's not a voting member of the MAA.
Sure. And I think it's, obviously the staff's going to put things on the agenda as well. Sure. But yeah. Does anyone want to review the arts program policy? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, we'll just take a voice vote or a roll call.
Sure. Rashani?
Yes.
Ekman?
Aye.
Osborne?
Aye.
Captain?
Aye.
Berg?
Aye. Let's go to old business. So one of the things that I'd like to work on, and I apologize, I was indisposed when it came time to review the agenda and go through it. But I think going forward, I've talked to Sean about this. I think what I'd like to do is on these items, they should be like more presented in terms of, is this just information we're gathering, or is this something we need to make a decision on? And if it's something we need to make a decision on, then I think we'd like a little background on pros and cons, if you will, and then have Sean make a recommendation. I recommend passage or not. And I think the other thing, as we're still kind of struggling with governance and everything else, if we get into long discussion about something, I mean, my goal would be just to, set up a subcommittee on those people that are interested in that subject and really have a recommendation for us at our next meeting. So with that, let's go to the safety report.
Okay, the only thing to report is we did have an employee in the basement of the terminal last week that was moving around some things and suddenly hit his head on a pipe, but he's okay. That's the only thing that we're aware of at this point that's been reported, but he is fine, and maybe wear a hard hat next time he's down in that area. There's a lot of low-hanging pipes, and he's a real tall person, so that's all I've got to report on that.
Okay.
As far as the airline lease and operating agreement updates.
Any questions on the safety report? Okay. Go ahead, Sean.
So the airline lease and operating, so Tana and I, along with John DeCoster, our consultant, did meet with the airlines in early January, went through the lease agreement. Most were here in person, some were online. And then that committee, each airline that operates here, have a committee for each airport, and it's chaired by Blaine Peters from Delta, the Fargo committee. So they met and went through and provided comments back to John DeCoster. We just got most of those yesterday, and we'll go through those here. There's nothing major. There'll be some legal questions that Stacy will go through on insurance indemnification and so forth. But we're moving in the right direction. The goal is to have everything signed hopefully in the April-May timeframe. Some of the airlines could extend out to June. It doesn't mean that they disagree with it. It just takes that long for them to get through there. So they will sign it. All of the airlines are paying the new rates already. So things are moving forward and the model is working. And
what's going to be the increase to our bottom line from that rate?
Do you recall right offhand, Tana? We can get that to you. I don't remember, but
you're not looking for any decision here.
No, this is just information. So, and I will make a note on these going forward.
So, any questions on airline leases? John?
Clarification. We're likely to end these projects, some revenue bonds. We have the ability to go back in and change this formula every year, so the debt service will be brought on, become part of the rate structure.
It's reset every budget year. Correct.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Liquor license update. Again, this is just an update, right?
It's an update.
Do you want to take lead or?
Well, I can walk you through it. We have a Class A license. I think everything's in place for that to continue during the construction period. The liquor licenses in the city are interesting to say the least. Class A liquor license is a straight bar liquor license, which think of an old style bar. Some of the problems we have with that here is that you have to be 21 to be in the establishment and serving the liquor. There are other licenses. I think in the interim period, we operate with the existing A. We can go back. We've met a couple times. I met with a couple of commissioners. Talked to Commissioner Strand. We may look for modifications based on how we want to approach it. But at the very least, would be to convert to what's called a food and alcohol license. This is a license that has a bar and restaurant combined. So in the restaurant area, you can have people under 21, which would allow expansion to alcoholic beverage services throughout the whole food and beverage. But Tana, we have to make sure our percentages are correct. Food sales have to exceed alcohol sales. Have to buy a hot dog with each beer. We'd manage that. Going forward, the stadium license, I think, still has some appeal. Commissioner Pepcorn was concerned that the whole airport would be a bar. I don't think that'd be the case, but I would say going forward, we should make a proposal of exactly what we want to do and then go forward with that. We could ask for a demonstration project, or, a temporary, see how it works. We are unique. This is why they came up with the stadium license. It's a unique situation.
What's a stadium license mean?
A stadium license, well, there's two licenses that are very, very expanded. Stadium license, you can serve alcoholic beverages from a concession stand to allow individuals to carry them throughout the facility. The whole facility becomes kind of the licensed premise. You may have exclusionary areas that says no alcohol here. The concern with that has always been somebody underage, somebody else of age buys and gives them to somebody underage. But the airport's unique in that there's more surveillance in the airport than any bar, restaurant, or any.
What do you recommend we do?
Well, I think at this point,
I think we continued up with the process. One of the things that I've spoken with the city attorney about is do we stay as is with the A license? I think everyone's in agreement for the foreseeable future. We just sit, and then we've talked about the possibility of creating a liquor license for the airport. So it could be tailored to the airport's needs. But I will say, I thought our meetings with Dave Pepcorn and Mr. Mosier, I thought they were very productive, but Mr. Pepcorn made it 100% clear that there's not going to be alcohol throughout the entire terminal. Like, as the liquor control board, there would not be the votes for that.
Well, I think we're okay with that. I guess my concern is we're opening in a few days here.
Well, and that's where the A license should be amended to allow temporary service through the construction period. We need something in place. And I guess it's the board. My recommendation would be that we look to what are the specific things we want to accomplish and ask for those. We do have the alternative of just going in and applying for a stadium license.
Maybe my question is, we're opening in a few days here. Are we gonna be serving alcohol?
Yes.
So we'll use our A license for just that bar area, and you have to be 21 to be in there.
Yep, that's always been the constraint with the small bar area is it's the original liquor license that was established after Prohibition was repealed.
So I guess the question is, what's the timing on this? We probably need to set some deadlines and get this made.
So the next liquor control board meeting is February 18. And the idea is that Skydyne needs to come back to the liquor control board with very specific ideas for what they foresee. And I thought that Paula's idea at our little round table was designated at gates 1 and 2, I can't remember, with a little bit of an expanded area. Like, if we give the city a specific enlarged footprint, but clearly not the entire terminal, they'll consider it. Because then their biggest things, including the Fargo Police Department, were policing. Like with the minor issue.
Right. Well, what I'm thinking is when we get that from Skydyne, John, if you would kind of monitor that, because I think you have a lot of knowledge in this area, and then the 18th is coming up pretty darn quick.
Yep.
And so we don't want Skydyne to present something that we don't agree to, you know, and I think if you want to take the lead on that, John.
Well, and like I said, you know, we can go and request anything we want. I would think we could make our case to the commission for what we perceive as necessary. There's not consistency between licenses. And the one that is most egregiously different is they're so concerned about this. Somebody buys and hands it off to a minor.
Right.
Well, on the golf courses, they put it in a cart and drive it a mile away from where it's being served, and nobody's observing.
Yeah, I mean, Paula and then Dean.
So I just wanted to explain for a moment. So with the current Class A license that we have where you can not have minors, what will happen if we don't make any changes is we currently have a space that'll hold about 30 people that's right in front of that coffee bar concession area. And so we can only 30 people can consume a beverage, and they will not be able to have you know, like a under 21.
This is kind of a crisis.
Right, so
Should have
this
been
is
decided and done now, but it's not, so.
Yeah, so what we do kind of have is a crisis because 180 people get on, you know, say just a flight to Las Vegas. So we're not providing probably the experience that we should be as an amenity. And so we do have to move on this
Dean,
rapidly.
you're used to bureaucracy. What do you have to say?
And I'm not speaking for or against anything that's been thrown out here, just an observation that when we introduced alcohol into athletic venues, and I'll include the Dome, the end of the world was coming, Sodom and Gomorrah, it just never panned out.
Yeah.
Hasn't, I mean, there's exceptions to every rule, but it has not in any way been a significant problem of this handoff concept, or drunken people stumbling down the aisles even, just hasn't happened.
That only
happens in
John Forks. John and then Jim.
It's very similar, and I'd suggest we look at the downtown street fair and the downtown's approach to liquor on certain events. You know, they started as a pilot to see how it works, to see what the feedback would be. People have to have a designated glass that's and they have to be carded, and they have a wristband.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And then you can be walking around wherever you want downtown with your drink. But if you've been carded, anyway, but my hat, the hat I wear on this is to try to be an advocate for the airport authority at the city level, not on the airport authority board, but I'm doing my best to.
Are you on the liquor control board?
No. Okay. Did I say, what board did I say?
Oh, you said it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's early in the morning.
So, Jim, yeah.
No, the only concern I have, and it isn't with the license or that stuff, but I have noticed on several occasions, Skydyne has one bartender who's also got to serve the food line, and there are people that wait for a drink for up to a half an hour and then finally walk out because they can't get served. There's just only one person. They got to have more than one person in there because I can see.
That's kind of really important issue, but kind of different. And I think that's something that we spent a lot of time with Skydive. You know, the chamber did that survey, and the one thing that everyone commented on was quality food and service. So I think we're going to have to really stay on top of that.
Yeah, there are days where they have staff that don't
Let's
show up.
let's just stick with this issue. So what do you think? I mean, does Skydive need some input from us, or what are they?
We're working with them. So Austin, I don't know if Austin's on here today or not, but he's got the presentation all updated for the February 18th.
So what
So everybody's
license are they
doing-
going to ask for? What are they going to? I guess
Look for an expanded area.
We'll continue with just the amendment to our license to serve under the existing regs. And then going forward. We have a very unique situation, and that would actually probably help us if we want to apply for our own licenses. You have people that are arriving for an event is the departure of an aircraft. And so you can't have 300 seat bar and restaurant. And that would mean the ability to expand out into the gate area as necessary. So I think we can put together something to do that.
But it sounds like what we're kind of moving towards is something would allow people to buy alcohol and then walk and go sit down by the gate. Is that what we want?
Yeah, and food delivery to the gate.
Sure, they want
You
to
could
do
have
that.
food and beverage
But
delivery.
the food is not a big deal. People can do that, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
And just to reiterate, people cannot get on a plane if they're intoxicated.
Sure.
They can't bring alcohol onto an aircraft. We had specified, playroom, all the additional spaces, all the amenities as far as like a nursing room, a playroom, a restroom, all those places would be excluded right off the bat.
I think a lot of these things will work themselves out, John, just like you said with the street fair. But I just want to be clear. So we're going to ask on the 18th, we're going to ask for an expanded license.
We should be all set administratively, I believe. It's ready to go. Because it really doesn't change from what's there right now, but you've only got a bar area.
Is that right, Stacy?
Correct.
Okay.
So the A license will remain. They'll operate under the A license, but asking for an expanded area to allow alcohol to be sold and consumed.
Okay, but no one can go in the bar area if you're under 21.
Correct.
It would seem to me that we'd want that food and beverage license because people are going to be there with someone under 21.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's what condenses the space now is you've got a food area and then you have a separate bar area.
Well, let's.
Tana, I don't know if we've got the numbers there, but we have to make sure we've got 50 to 60% food sales.
Well, just to be clear, and those numbers are going to evolve, right, with the new food. So I think really the bottom line here is we want to expand it so people can buy a beverage and go sit down by the gate and wait. Good luck with that.
We're gonna go steal the golf carts from Edgewood, run our little carts around. It's gonna be great.
Well, on typical, on normal operating the average passenger would be in the terminal for less than an hour to
They're
consume
gonna come 3
something.
hours ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay, how about the hotel update?
Buy $20 drinks.
Tom Shower is on with that.
Good morning, this is Tom. Just a quick update on it. As we've been working through and received proposals, we had one, as we talked about last time, one proposal. What I'm recommending to the airport authority is that we create a hotel committee, and they would put together and go through some of the requirements that we want to make sure best suit the airport authority. Similar to the liquor license, we want to make sure that we sit down, create a consensus on what that would look like for the hotel. And then that committee in conjunction would meet with the hotel management and work out a final guidelines for their final proposal. And then we can move into negotiations. I would recommend that committee include at a minimum one person from the airport authority. I will defer to the airport authority to select that person. I would recommend one person from airport management, most likely just from experience. Sean be a good candidate for that. I would also recommend an architecture representative. I would see Brent Berry would be a good choice, or if he's not available, then Angie Corwin would be a bit, work out with that. The airport engineer, Jeff Klein, to help make sure everything's consistent with standards, things like that. And then I would also add somebody that has airport planning experience, such as myself, that also understands the air traffic control line of sight, radar reflection issues, and issues that go along with the radar itself that we looked at when we originally did some of the initial site locations. And so roughly right now it'd be about 5 people on the committee is what I would anticipate. We would get together in the next 2 to 3 weeks, work out those, set up a meeting with the hotel administration, and keep this ball rolling.
Okay.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, so what is your responsibility right now, Tom? What have we hired you to do?
What have you hired us to do? We have no scope of work or contract to do anything. We've just been helping as a value added, trying to make sure this moves forward. So we did put together the SOIQ.
What's the SOIQ?
Statement of qualifications and interest, which we received.
Okay. Any comments? My only question, Tom, is it sounds like it's important that needs to be done. But we don't want to delay this whole process. We want to move rather quickly. And I would think that, hotel's not rocket science. We have Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls has provided you with all the information, haven't they?
They provided us with what they had done. I can tell you, with speaking with the owners of Aerostay, there's things they have learned from Sioux Falls that they will be implementing and improving on at Hector. As we go through this timing, one of the things that we had put into the timeline that had already been in existence in the SOIQ that went before the airport authority was a start date actually of construction in the spring of 2027. That still would be our target. And there's some specific reasons for that. There are some dominoes that need to fall. One, we want to make sure that construction activities in and around the area, as well as staging areas and things like that, are cleared out, so we're not having conflicting operations, as well as we will have anticipate a airspace requirement for the development on the airport, most likely a shadow analysis coordinated with the FAA's air traffic control and airport leadership. And then likely the radar will be tied in with the airspace. Those will take probably 60 to 90 days. And those are dependent on the actual physical size and location of the hotel proposed. We will be working then in the committee. We would also look at access so that we make sure that it has no flow control or anything that's impacting the access in and out of the terminal area, and make it convenient and safe so that people can easily get to the hotel and then from the hotel to the terminal building itself.
I guess I'd like me not to put together a scope of work and a plan for the board to approve at the next meeting to get us to the stage where we're, ready to break ground.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard that, Tom.
I did.
you know, I mean, I think the number one person that ought to be on this committee or get input would be the people in Sioux Falls. You know, I guess typically, wouldn't we negotiate an agreement with the hotel first, then invest this money to move forward?
We would want to sit down, I guess what we want to make sure is I agree with you in general concept, but first we want to lay down and make sure the airport and the developer are on the same page. And for that, I'm looking at making sure this is somewhat climate controlled between the hotel and the terminal. That connected walkway was most likely, because of its location, have an addition to hotel patrons. It would likely have terminal employees walking from the terminal lot that would probably benefit from having access into that walkway. We want to make sure the access roads and things like that, because like their initial proposal had access from the airport drive-in. We think from a passenger flow, it would be better to switch that to the east side of the hotel.
Okay.
So we'd want to just work out some of these things in general concept and let the developers work within that boundary. I did reach out and talk to the developer and asked if that seemed like a process that they'd like. They were much in favor of that. And
all right, thanks. So is there anyone here that would be interested in serving on that? Ian, Paula? Okay. Was there a motion to form the committee?
So
In a second. Okay. Okay, we've got a motion, a second to form the committee. What's the timetable of this committee? When would its work be done, Tom?
My goal would be is that the committee would get together in the next, like I said, 2 to 3 weeks. We'd like just the general outline of things, sit down with the developer as just an informational discussion on things, kind of air out, make sure that understanding of general things be done in the next 30 days. At that point, we'd give them 30 to 60 days to put an RFP together, which would be their formal proposal. After hearing the general guidelines, at that point, the airport would be in negotiations to finalize that. Goal would be is that they would have a clear path forward this summer, do the architectural design and permitting, airspace, and be ready for construction.
We want to streamline this, and I know you want to space it out with all the construction, but you know, the sooner the hotel's up, the more we're gonna benefit our consumers. So I guess, are there any other questions or questions for Tom? Discussions? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. I guess I just, both Paul and Dean offered, thank you. I'm gonna ask Dean if he would be the lead, but I think anyone that wants to can be involved in it as well. I'm gonna rely on your wife, Christy, to provide architectural help on this, as she's done in Medora. Yeah, another freebie, yeah. So, okay, CFO Marketing Community Engagement Manager update.
Okay, so we have approximately 90 applicants for the marketing and community engagement management positions. Those applications closed last Friday. And approximately 20 applicants for the CFO. Those applications closed yesterday. I'll be hopefully starting to interview applicants as early as next week for the marketing and community engagement manager position. Done some shortlisting. Sarah Flowers from Flint has volunteered, and I think we'll have Darren, so it'll be like 3 of us to interview for that position coming up here. As far as the CFO, we would probably start interviews and shortlisting the following week. And with myself, along with Megan Johnson from Pro Resources, and either Darren or Joan, we'll go through that interview process there. If any of the board members feel that they need to be part of that, please let me know. But that's the timeline for those 2 positions.
Any discussions? I mean, Paula?
So I know you had mentioned that you want to put a panel together, just like you indicated now. I'd be happy to sit on the panel for the marketing position.
So we'll start next week, so hopefully.
Well, would you, you know, again, I'm learning about searches more recently. It seems a lot of times it's narrowed down to 1 or 2 people. And then at that point, you know, again, you know, board members can weigh in and give you their opinion. What would you like to do, Paula? 'cause I appreciate your input in this. You've worked hard on it. I mean, I guess the first thing is the job description spelled out correctly on what we're,
Yeah,
so does everyone feel comfortable, Paula?
I think the role has expanded a little bit, even the arts and amenities policy includes duties for that internal role. With 80 applications, you know, I wouldn't mind assisting with going through and, you know, recognizing who the top candidates are.
We've already got that narrowed down to about 4, so Sarah and I did that a couple days ago, last week.
Well, then that would be something, you can look at those 4 where we're at. If you're satisfied, we can move forward. If there's other people there that
95% of them were not even qualified. So on Indeed.com, when they apply, it's like they're a barista someplace, but they have no experience, or they graduated 6 years ago with a marketing degree, but they've had no experience. So it was real easy to go down to. There's really about 3 that really came to the top, possibly a 4th one. Other than that, there was on the CFO one.
Let's stay with the
2 or
marketing
3.
first. Is that, what should we do? What would you like to do, Paula? Want me to review those?
Sure.
We can get you a link to Indeed if you want to go through. Somehow we can do that, I guess, with Indeed.com, then everything is on.
So you haven't really interviewed anyone, you've just narrowed it down
I'm
to
gonna
4.
start interviewing next week is the goal, because people are kind of anxious.
Okay, how about the CFO? You said 20 people applied for that.
Around 20, yeah. So I think there's 3 that really come to the top on that at this point, and then probably schedule interviews the following week. That'd be the goal.
Anyone have any interest in?
Yeah, I would like to participate.
Okay. We'll just figure that out, how we do that.
Yeah, I'll schedule the interviews, the dates and times, and hopefully you're available.
Okay. Anything else on that? If not, let's go to the governance committee update. And, you know, I think we kind of put the whole governance thing on hold and said, well, let's just get our priorities done. We met once on December 3rd, and I think you've kind of looked at those and you presented those. You know, I'm fine if we adopt these, and so we have something done. Also, if someone would like to fine tune them more, you know, I'm okay with that, but that's going to require us meeting and spending some time on it. So, does everyone have a copy of those goals in their packet?
Page 89.
So I can just read them. You know, we kind of had several different buckets. Community engagement was one. We had kind of short-term goals and long-term goals. Short-term, renew the City of Fargo property tax levy. Complete plan to move the airport to a regional authority. And then really the kind of how do we accomplish that? I think Sean's kind of gone through that and put that together. And long-term goals, regional airport. Customer service, section 2 was a baseline of customer satisfaction. I think there's a little confusion on that. Monitor each airline's metrics, you know, the ones they're held accountable to. Survey airline managers for customer satisfaction. Identify amenities that cold weather airports have that Fargo doesn't. And then, you know, more under customer service, achieve 80% customer satisfaction, improve wayfinding signage on main roads. I guess that's probably accomplished. Survey businesses on airport satisfaction, and then add a daily direct flight this year from Fargo to another airport. Have direct meetings with airline executives. Identify top routes to add. Begin construction on a new hotel. achieve a 4% annual return on the airport's assets. Establish KPIs for Hector as compared to peer airports. Governance Compliance Board. Build appropriate balances of capital. And then efficiency, HR, workforce strategy, aviation needs, complete evaluation of airport land and facilities, complete internal master plan, establish a baseline of aviation services, and then add 2 new aviation service providers. Identify peer airports and track KPIs compared to Fargo. It's kind of the same as the other one. Have 3 stakeholder meetings again by June 2026. So, Dean, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think you did a terrific job of kind of outlining the issues we needed to pay attention to. I think Sean did an outstanding job of fleshing those out in more detail. We've been working on this for months, and we could spend a couple more months if we wanted to try to edit it to perfection, which we'd never achieve anyway. So I'd like us to go ahead and, thinking of this as a living document, approve this as a working outline for Sean and his staff. And as time goes by, if we need to make adjustments, we certainly can. Nothing would prohibit that, but I think it's time to bring closure to this, and we've got a work product here in front of us that's, in my mind, pretty close to right on.
Okay, Paul?
I'd like to see, let's see, so when you talk, let's see, 4% return on airport assets, but there's no, I think we should have goals for increasing food and beverage and increasing parking revenues, specific goals on those items. I think we should have something in place to, you know, with the assistance perhaps of Pro Resources on communication methods or protocols between the board and administration to make sure that we're cohesive and communicating effectively.
Yeah, and part of that whole thing is the rest of the governance that we haven't adopted. So we're just adopting these goals. And so I think, I think we got too many here, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be, if it's a living document, maybe that could force us to go through these and fine tune them. I think to your first question, the idea was at a high level, if you take out, the terminal and, just the things that are our assets, what kind of a return are we getting on that high level thing? So, there's a lot of things that need to be fleshed out in these. But John, you got any comments?
Well, yeah, I think you've started the process. It very much has to be a living document. To me, the most critical thing is the measurement. And we're going to have to create ways to measure performance in each of those. Some of the things that I read in there as you set the goals, there were some tactical items that's fine, but you can't, these are not binary goals. This is met with an airline check. And some of the things what are the stretch goals for financial revenues and everything else. The big one though is the performance and overall performance of all the staff, and that human resources plan that we've been looking for a long time is absent here. So I don't have a problem going forward with this, but there are some things we need to do, and each year I think as we attempt to measure things, and we can, try to identify goals that can be measured.
Well, maybe what we should do is adopt this and have another governance meeting in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks before our next meeting and kind of fine tune these if anyone wants to weigh in and figure out some more specifics. Then at least we'll, you know, at least get a lot of these different things covered. That makes sense?
Well, and again, I've always liked to see stretch goals, and that this shouldn't be a document. Some performance plans become a checklist. You just go down and you check everything off there. We've done it. What are the stretch goals? And some of the things are going to be difficult to do. But that's where the creativity is.
Yeah, I mean, the top goals, to your point, they should be specific, they should be measurable, and they should have a timeline attached to them. So I think maybe that's what we do is in the next month, try and say what are the top 7 here that are really important. And then, you know, those are things that we would track throughout the year. We're looking for results, not activity. But at the same time, if there's a lot of activity and the results are out of our control, you know, you understand that.
And that again is the measurement aspect. I mean, the easiest one is add 12 new flights. Well, if you don't add any, what did you do to attempt to have those? What were those things?
So just a couple of things. So the 4% annual return, Tana and I have spoke about that for quite a while. I haven't found an airport that does that KPI. Not to say that we can't come up with something, but we'll try. And then on the section 3 efficiency. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Section 3, the efficiency and short-term goals. I really need the board's input on that in terms of who you consider a peer airport. You know, I can pick Sioux Falls and Cedar Rapids and things. You know, Cedar Rapids boards, even though they're a small hub, boards a lot more passengers than we do. Sioux Falls does as well. So do you want it by strictly enplanements, population of the city, cargo ops, annual budget? I mean, I need your input on what do you feel are peer airports. I can pick Sioux Falls, Cedar Rapids, Rochester, Duluth, Omaha, probably some others out there. Do you want 10 airports, 12 airports, 6 airports? Just need some guidance on that so it's relevant.
But again, I think those are details we'll have to work out after we approve that we want to be measured by peer airports.
Some airports take the FAA data every year. The enplanements come out. Darren follows this. You see where Fargo is. You take 10 above or 10 below or 5 above and 5 below, and that's your peer airports. But they change every year.
Absolutely.
So you could do that too. I mean, and then you have to go online, and all of the data is online in what they call Form 127 and 126. So you can pull data that's relevant and put it into a spreadsheet and then see how we compare to those in a particular year. That's another way of doing it. So, but Tana and I can chat and see how the 4% annual return is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll figure something out. So,
well, part of
what I
the
have.
question on that would be, what are we getting now? You know, we have the balance sheet. What are we getting?
We can figure that out. So there's models.
Paula?
Sorry, one more thing on the governance, and I think we've discussed this before, and I don't see this in here, but I think it's irresponsible as a board to not have any succession plan at all. Succession plan?
As a public entity, that gets to be a little bit of a problem. You can't identify who's next. We have to have that research.
I'm not saying identify, but maybe parameters or a plan. I mean, like how we would even go about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to have that thought through, and so we have a plan in a lot of areas.
I mean, we've talked about like Sean's a fixture here. He's been here for 33 years. I think he
You're gonna be
does.
here another 33?
See. Depends. But no, it's, as Dean said, like in a government entity, it's a little bit different, but I mean, I get hit by a bus tomorrow. Obviously, you go into immediate mode. Board member, you got Joan, you got Darren, you got Jordan, you have a CFO. Currently, Tana's acting in that position. Airport's not gonna miss a beat in terms of the operations, getting the bills paid and meeting all those obligations. You lose out on some of the things in terms of community engagement and relationships that have been built with airlines and other tenants and so forth. But succession planning is important. But those are things that sometimes you go on a fly. Like if someone's going to retire, they're probably going to give you 6 months notice or something of that nature. But on the opposite side, the things that happen suddenly without notice, getting hit by a bus or a medical issue, you pick up the pieces and formulate the plan as you go on. You make it up as you go.
Some of that is shared knowledge and information amongst existing staff that each position has visibility to other positions and at some extent even taking over those duties once in a while to create that. And that all.
And we do that now with payroll. Jordan is cross-trained on that, and Joan and Darren and Jordan with security stuff. But there are some.
And again, it's formalizing that plan.
I think it's a good idea to put some of that thought in. I mean, it's just like peer airports. What are the compensation for airport directors, and what are they doing, and are we competitive? And if there's a change, what do we need to do? So maybe you could think about how we would put that in a goal or something that we got the plan. We're checking to make sure that
we are due for a compensation study, and that's what Pro Resources would handle with a company called ADK that does it for airports around the country. We're due for that, for them to do that.
Okay. Back to your peer airports. Those will adjust. Some of it has to be aspirational. The peer airports would be to identify the best performing, compare yourself to them, not necessarily size, but within markets. I think anytime there's a leakage, that's one other thing. Understanding our leakage, the effect of Grand Forks, ignoring Grand Forks. It's kind of done at our own peril.
So you look at that FA data, even though we're classified as a small hub and we did 590,000 passengers last year, Cedar Rapids, who Fargo, I mean, as a city, thinks of as a peer city. They boarded about 1.6 million passengers, but yet we're all a small hub. So you have those that are on the top of the list and those on the bottom. We kind of fall right in the middle of what small hub classifications are. But yet I think Cedar Rapids is a peer city, just like Omaha is a peer city. But yet they board significantly.
Those can change.
Correct. Yep. All right. We'll put something together and work with Tana.
Okay, so then the motion would be to adopt these, but then in the next month, if anyone wants to modify or change, we kind of do that.
Yeah, I think our motion should be to adopt the goals, the specific line items underneath. Like I said, I read those as tactics to achieve those. And so what would be adopting is the top line. Management will put in the tactics to accomplish.
We're not telling them how to do that.
No.
This is what we want to achieve.
Yeah. And like I said, the one that I see that we're missing is that performance review aspect across all staff.
Sure. Well, if you want to work on that, Paul, you want to work on succession planning, how we would incorporate something like that. All right. Any other discussion or input? John?
Congratulations to all of you. This is really something to be here. I was lost this morning finding you.
We were all lost.
But my eyes are wide open going through and going, what an accomplishment you've all done. And what a legacy, contribution to our community. And each one of you has been just selfless. And to see you sitting here at the table after all this work and envisioning what you're going to be doing, I just want to say thank you and congratulations. Thanks for your service and congratulations.
Thanks for the support of the city and what you've done.
It's good leadership here at this table.
So you got three just quick things in your packet.
We had a vote on this.
Okay.
We don't have a second yet. Dr. Brashani made the motion. We don't have
I'll
a second.
second it.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt these goals, not necessarily for tactics, but it's a flexible document, and we'll review it next month for changes. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
My apologies, I didn't realize.
No,
we were
no,
done
no,
with
that
business
was perfect. So what I'm really good at, John, is I'm good at becoming president of NDSU when all the work for FBS is already done. So, and then, you know, the airport authority, now that it's already done, I can be chairman or whatever, so. Well, really, thanks goes to, you know, Paula and John, Jim. I mean, it's been, when did you start on this terminal? It was like 6 years ago?
Of May of 24.
That was when the work started.
Yeah, but the terminal stuff was before COVID, so.
Yeah,
It's been a
so I
long
mean,
time.
it's been, well, thank you, John, for sharing that. Okay, Sean?
Flint provided a 2025 recap for the marketing that was in your packet. Sarah Flowers put that together. The 19th Avenue sign, a top panel blew apart over the weekend. Indigo repaired that yesterday. It was, I had all kinds of calls and emails from people, so. But they repaired it. I'm not sure if it's a permanent repair or temporary. And then just take note, our next meeting is Tuesday, March 10th at 10:30 in the morning. That, the chamber has their annual meeting 8 to 9:30. Forget the location, but Jeff Davidman, Delta Government Affairs, will be their keynote speaker at the annual meeting. So we'll start at 10:30 here on March 10th.
Any question of Fly North Dakota is what, 8 through 10?
Yeah, so I know Jordan is going. I'm not sure if anyone else will be up there since we have a meeting, board meeting. But yeah, that's in Minot.
Minot. So it could be kind of, if any board member is going, it could be kind of.
Can we change
stiff
it?
getting back.
I've attended, I'll be there for a portion of it, for sure. I find those very, very informative and educational.
I kind of plan on going myself too, so on that board.
Well, maybe we can get an agenda and just check on that if we need to.
Change the meeting?
So will we be able to attend the chamber?
Yep, the airport authority will pay for any board member that wants to go. I say, forget the location, just sign up online or we'll reimburse you or whatever.
Well, maybe we just plan on keeping the date the same and can zoom in or something if we need to. But that is a good program. We want to support North Dakota and aeronautics here in North Dakota. And that's part of, they battled for our funding last year in the session, so.
The only other option would be to change the meeting to March 17th instead, but look at your calendars.
Well, let's leave it at the 10th right now.
Okay,
We'll,
at 10:30.
yeah. We have to change it, we can, but let's leave it. Okay, public comment period.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Is Greg still on the line? Greg, because he had said at the last meeting, he was gonna have, some different options or ideas, proposals for
It's
to
not
address
on there
parking.
because he delayed it until March.
Okay.
We'll have more information at the March meeting, that's why it's not.
What are we asking for him in March?
He will have a review of, well, Greg, why don't you tell him what you're gonna have available that you wouldn't have today?
Yeah, so the plan is to present to you a recommendation on the corporate Parker program, disabled veteran program, but also go over the financials for parking and establish a recommendation for the transient drive-up rate for the parking ramp as well.
And I think at the last meeting, he had said, Greg, you said something like the
Yeah.
average disparity, price-wise between, for instance, a ramp parking and the long-term parking would be about 6 to 8. And we're at, what, $14 to $11.
So maybe.
Right. You do have dynamic pricing in your back pocket, but to your point, we're looking at all your parking products, economy, long-term, premium reserve, and the ramp. So we're going to make sure that disparity aligns across all products and give you a recommendation.
Yeah, that'd be good for us to look at the pricing, because now is the premium time for people to use a parking ramp, you know, and so we don't want to make sure that we're capturing that, and we're going to go into, I'm assuming, a season where we're not going to be as occupied, so.
That's exactly right. So we would want to do that on the cusp of that slower season. And so just like take January, for instance, you had a record month of occupancy, but also revenue. And so, you know, it wouldn't have been really productive to lower the rates or adjust the rates in any way during a time when you're really like at peak occupancy. So we will look at like early spring, April, May to try to make those adjustments.
Yeah. Well, and I think for us, Greg, you've been a good partner through this whole process. And I think if you have the data, if you can also maybe come with your recommendation on what, if there is a change, your recommendation may be to do nothing right now, but if there's a change, come with us to a recommendation that we can act on.
For sure. I'll have all that outlined and it'll be actionable items.
All right, very good. Paula.
One more thing under old business, I wanted to share that I was able to tour the air traffic control tower a couple weeks ago. It was a great tour. I appreciated Casey taking the time to show me the inner workings. One thing that I witnessed while I was up in the tower, he explained to me that and you can see it from the tower, but there's a line, and Sean can probably speak more to this. There's a line where you go from the active runway as you're taxiing towards the airport terminal. It's yellow and black and diagonal. And so that's the area, he said, once the aircraft crosses that line, they're no longer responsible, like the air traffic control tower is no longer responsible for that aircraft. One of the things with the terminal is that they have less of a visible sight line to the aircraft as it passes, but it's not their responsibility anymore. But while I was up there, I witnessed a United aircraft that sat waiting for a gate for more than 30 minutes. And during that time, that aircraft ended up calling to the tower to get assistance to getting a gate, which can be when they said they're staffed at like 18, but they're hoping to have 26. So they're already a little short staffed, and the supervisor is making calls that are not safety related to their duties to find a gate to accommodate or facilitate finding a gate for that, or communicate with the airport to the ramp people for finding a spot or a gate for that aircraft. And so it was almost surreal to be there and witness this problematic situation. And they did say at larger airports there's a person in charge of just the ramps. We don't have that, but there is a cog there that I just wanted to mention and make everyone aware of it. If there's anything that can be done to facilitate, taking that responsibility or that it's not a responsibility, but for the air traffic control tower to have to be distracted from their safety related duties to facilitate the aircraft finding a gate.
Well, does the commercial airplanes have communications with like American here, or?
They don't have direct communication to their station here. Someone's there listening to the radio.
Yeah, so they have a frequency they can talk directly to
Yes,
their
they do.
people.
United to United, all of them talk directly.
Well, one thing we did 2 years ago now, we had the aircraft controllers and also the commercial pilots for a lunch. And so it's a really good discussion about even bringing planes in and the routes they're taking them, how to make that more efficient. So this might be good to hear from them directly on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, is this a position that's typical to a certain size airport?
Airports don't provide them. Those are airline positions. They call them ramp controllers. Each airline has their own. It wouldn't even become justified here to do that.
How could we improve it?
It's a staffing issue that the airlines have, or if the pilot is communicating to the radio in their ops center that nobody is in listening to because they're out on the ramp, maybe there's a way that they can have a different earpiece in or a different radio out there to listen so they can communicate with their pilot. Yeah, that's just something we can.
Well, actually,
Station
when
managers
they're,
are aware of it.
when they're sitting there, they can use their phones, their cell phones work.
Correct.
Everyone's got one, but yeah, I mean, I think these are things that we should maybe reach out to the control tower and say, do you have things we can help you with or deal with, and really get them to tell us exactly what we can do.
They don't hesitate to let us know if there's an issue, so but I can call
I'd
Casey
be
and see.
happy to sign a letter if you wanted to put that in, just ask for their input.
They give us input. Casey was up the other day and gave us some input on stuff, so they're really good to communicate with us and the guard.
No, just being the best we can be. However,
So a couple Saturdays ago, let's see, not last Saturday, the Saturday before, United sent a flight from Chicago to Fargo, got here at 3:17 in the morning. They didn't get on the gate until after 5. That's because the staff that left here, the midnight shift, was told the flight was canceled. The flight was sent and nobody was notified. That's a United Airlines issue.
well, and again, the inside knowledge of how things work, but to the customer, sitting on the plane for 2 hours waiting to get in, it's the airport.
I know, yeah.
And so whatever we can do to help.
And United did a good job, as Delta did with the de-icing issue here a few weeks ago with de-icing trucks. Their storytellers reach out to those folks. So they know everybody on board. They got their contact information. They reward them with miles. They give them an update on what the situation was. But when we know, we go directly to our properties people and our regional folks to let them know, hey, you have this issue. Make sure United, Delta, American, whoever it is, communicate with the passengers. So they've done a much better job with that. Not perfect, but they're doing better.
And I was probably paying a little bit more attention to that aircraft because friends had flown in on both American and Delta just a few days prior and had complained about sitting on the tarmac for so long waiting for the gate, and there was some frustration.
Keep in mind that just because there's an open gate doesn't mean they have
I
the
think the
staff.
point
to
is,
park.
we need to be reaching out to these people, figuring out things that we're in our control that we can help with. And, a year and a half ago, we had the meeting with all the airline managers here. And I thought that was pretty productive, so. Okay, any other, points to the good of the order?
And again, I'd just say that what we want to do in those situations is try to find ways to alleviate it if we can. Probably the most frustrating thing, say to somebody that's upset, oh, that's not my problem. So whatever we can do, put in place ways.
Yep.
I did fly in a week ago and appreciated very much that when there was a delay getting our bags, they came out and told us what was going on versus sitting there wondering what's going on. That was nice to have them communicating to the passengers what's happening and why.
We emphasize that to the station managers and supervisors all the time. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Let people know what's going on. It takes care of lots of problems.
Well, I flew in Saturday night and all the luggage, 2 flights came in like a minute apart, a Delta and an American. We all got our luggage in 30 minutes. It was fantastic. Both baggage claim 1 and 2 were utilized, but there was some confusion because the screens didn't reflect that it was an American flight. So people were, looking at the tags to try to figure out what carousel their aircraft, and I know that's coming. We've got the screens there, so I think we've got the tools and we'll get it done.
In between with the old and the new system.
Yeah, there was 2 things going on, and then
Yeah.
one screen said like all the United flights, and people were wondering where the American. But we've all figured it out, and it was people were, the luggage was coming out in 30 minutes, which I thought was pretty, especially when we had two aircrafts coming in at one time.
Well, that's what customers see. So the better we can get the bags off the plane and customers off the plane, get them out the door, the better.
The QR code things, the signs that we've put in baggage claim have increased the number of contacts from passengers directly to the airline. That's worked really, really well. If you're waiting for your bags, the QR code's there. It's gone up significantly. So that's helped a lot.
Cool. Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
We'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.